over the 14 years. We did the Super Bowl this year. If you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code, they put you on the Jumbotron. We powered that like during COVID when NBA was in the bubble and WWE wrestling, all the screens, we powered all that. That was all our technology. And so I got a knock on the door from the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent our nation's 911 phone call. This is how it started.
Please welcome America's service sales coach, Joe Crisara.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast, the show that helps home service professionals master high-value sales, build stronger client relationships, and grow their business like never before. Join industry experts as they share real strategies that drive results. If you're ready to level up your service game, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
It's the Service MVP Podcast.
Thank you for listening and watching the Service MVP Podcast. I want to give you a copy of my free book. Just click on the link below in the description and one will be sent to you from me personally. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's service sales coach. And today we have a very special guest, James Hatfield, who is the Chief Revenue Officer at LiveSwitch, which is a new service that's out there that's going to use the power of live instant video to be able to transform the trades for communication between both the internal staff and the clients of the company that you belong to for all the blue-collar trades and other service businesses. James, welcome to our podcast. That's a long sentence.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. Well, thanks for having me today. I look forward to having some fun here and sharing some stories.
Yeah, let's have fun. I think if it's fun, if it's not fun, let's not do it at all. How's that sound?
That sounds great. Life's too short.
It's it. So tell us what the journey you took to get here, James. I heard that you've journeyed from painting houses to building businesses. That's a pretty big leap there. Can you tell us a little about the journey that got you there?
Yeah, well, I never expected to get off the ladder. You know, I come from blue collar family. We built our own homes. My grandfather worked at a tire store. My father, you know, he could build anything. And so as I graduated, like, hey, when you go get a job, why don't you go paint houses or be a plumber? And so I was like, well, I'll go paint houses. So that's what he did. I went and painted houses from head to toe. And that's what I was good at. And I found out that I was accidentally having to be a business owner as well. I think most people listening probably can relate. You know, you're good at taking care of heating and air and plumbing, and all of a sudden, no, now you got to run a business. And so I went from that to putting myself back to school because I needed to learn how to use my books. And that got me off the ladder because we created a financial technology company that we took from nothing to it's a multi-billion-dollar company. And now I'm in another technology company, but I do come off the ladder. I used to run mini crews, painting and power washing companies were my claim to fame there.
Wow, it's a pretty big mind shift. Can you explain the difference in what was a tipping point where you went from going up a ladder and painting homes to this financial mind shift you had? Can you tell us a little bit about was there a tipping point or something that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Aha moment that made that happen?
100%. So as a business owner, sometimes you go to the bookkeeper, right? And they're speaking English to me and I'm nodding and I'm like, I don't understand a word this person's saying. I'm not a bookkeeper. I don't know the financial lingo they're telling me. And I said, I think that's probably a problem. You know, I have staff to pay for. I've got all kinds of things. I need to understand my money more. So at that time I said, well, maybe I'll go back to state school. And a couple decades ago, they were actually affordable, crazy as that sounds. And I learned over the years while I was running my businesses also about my books. And because of that, when I finished, I connected with a partner and he was doing the same thing and he ran a landscaping company. And so the problem we had was like, well, we can solve that. And we created this expert system that you could take an income statement and balance sheet, run it through the system, and it would tell you in layman's terms, in plain language, how you're doing. The problem I had. And well, I was like, well, could we sell this? I'm like, well, let me see. I'll come off the ladder and see. I'm a sales guy as well. I remember knocking on doors to get jobs and I went door to door. I had no problem selling. So I took this system and we took it from nothing to an Inc. 500 company for 3 years. I mean, we're one of the fastest growing companies in the country for 3 years. And then we exited and now it's a multi-billion-dollar company.
Wow. That's an amazing journey. That's an amazing journey for sure. Can you unpack the financial blind spot in early businesses or startups and how that insight shaped LiveSwitch's vision for service contractors a little bit more?
Yeah. So, you know, the blind spot for me, and I'm sure for most, is making sure you can make ends meet every month and not just being paycheck to paycheck or month to month when you're paying your staff, but can we get ahead of it? Can we project it? Can we look out 12 months? Let's look out 3, let's look out 12. Let's have a game plan. Let's think about what our capital expenditures are going to be. Let's get our ducks in a row, right? Or at the end of it, let's get our ducks in a row so we can sell this thing, right? So getting a handle on the books was where we started, because we used to live on ladders, right? And then when we sold that company, we were like, well, we're not quite ready to hang it up. We got into nonprofit work. We did a company called Inmates Entrepreneurs. It's a nonprofit. We put incarcerated men and women through our programs. We put thousands of them through it. It actually turned into an ABC television show called Free Enterprise. But we decided, hey, let's build another unapologetically for-profit company to another billion-dollar company. We like to think big. But instead of starting from scratch, let's go and buy a company this time. So we found a company that was 14 years old, and we bought it 5 years ago. And that got us into live video and live switch, which we'll talk about in a little bit here, and how we got back around to home services and contractors.
Yeah, let's go to the reason why we're here, actually, which is Live Switch now. Live Switch, show us a vision of how Live Switch has transformed the way field teams operate, especially for the trades and restoration pros. And can you tell us a little bit about, help us imagine how the people in the trades would use this type of service for using live video, instant live video, you say. Tell us how that would work. Can you give us a vision of that?
Absolutely. So I'm sure you had these back in the day, like I did. You had a CB radio maybe to run your company, or you had a Nextel walkie-talkie. What we've done is now effectively made the Nextel walkie-talkie, but with video. Now that we all carry smartphones in our pockets, our customers, our employees, our staff, we have 3, 4, 5 cameras in our pocket at all time. Let's utilize that in our business to get in front of our customers faster, to document our work. But live video, what we're trying to do is fight against your gas tank. I want you thinking about me when you're filling up your truck with gas. That's what I want you. And we're going to talk about the disruption that we've seen over the last few years of how service businesses and contractors are using live video to get to their customers faster, document and follow up callbacks, and running video all the way through the entire process, from lead to cash to completion and follow up and recurring revenue. We'll talk about all of that through there. But we actually, when we bought this company, we didn't know we were going to be back in home services. That's not even our origin story. So when we did buy the company, again, I had to go in, and I was a product officer at the time. So you get all these titles, right? But I've been hanging out with our engineers, all right? And our engineers, again, they're speaking English to me. I'm nodding my head. I'm like, I don't understand a word these guys are saying. Like the nerdy talk is called WebRTC. I'm like, what is that? I have no idea what this is, but I'm a thinker. I'm a builder, right? So we're doing that, and you've actually seen and used our stuff, and you didn't know it was us over the 14 years. We did the Super Bowl this year. If you go to an MLB ballpark and scan a QR code, they put you on the Jumbotron. We powered that, like during COVID when NBA was in the bubble and WWE wrestling, all the screens, we powered all that. That was all our technology. And so I got a knock on the door from the chief of police in Washington, D.C. to reinvent our nation's 911 phone call. This is how it started. Okay. The idea was, when a citizen is calling through the phone, the worst part of your cell phone is the phone. It's telephony. It's an ancient technology. Yeah. It's the worst. But you're trying to explain, when you're in a compromised situation, what's going on. Well, now what we want to do, and what is happening, is a text can be sent to your phone. You tap it, and now we can tap right into your cameras with no app to download. When speed is of the greatest need, especially in a 911 situation, now we tap into those cameras, and that feed can be streamed right to the police car, fire truck, or emergency medical. It's called situational awareness, and they can see what they're driving into. Okay? So that's the origin story. And if you keep following the breadcrumbs, the next people I went after were guys in the FBI taking care of sports teams. Okay, I met a guy in Nashville, Tennessee Titans, 20 years in the FBI. He's taking care of the Titans football team. I'm showing him our emergency response stuff. And he goes, James, that's all well and good. But he's like, I got the stupidest question for you. I'm like, what is it? He's like, can I just text my guy across my big arena when the trash cans fall over so I don't have to hop in my little golf cart? Because that'd save me a lot of time. And that was the big, aha. Who else could use no app, see what I see, technology, and boom, we come back home to home services. And we've been to home services.
I want everybody to come to the next Total Immersion, the life-changing event where you increase your sales and your personal growth. What should we do?
Dude.
Hang on. Let's just stop for a second there. That is amazing. I mean, I'm already wowed just based on those two situations. And I can see how that would be such a great case study to get, the visual. I mean, you get 911. Tell us what's happening. Well, you hear it. Take a look at yourself. Why, to have a citizen try to explain what's happened, they're in a panic and they can't explain it. That's so great. And even something like the trash cans, the internal communication. So are you saying like, yeah, how about remote workers? Have you had people who are remote workers and you wanted to have a quick conversation without doing a Zoom meeting or whatever? You could just roll up this app and have a quick conversation with your coworker. Is that possible?
Exactly right. Anywhere in the world, point to point connection. So I have home service professionals that have their sales team overseas as well. Think about 24/7 coverage.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got a lot of restoration companies like ServPro that use our stuff.
Hmm.
And so you can hire, we have a lot of small mom and pops that'll hire a person in the Philippines or South Africa to answer the phone because when that phone rings, that's where the game begins. And that's literally what we're disrupting. When that first call comes in, there's a whole change going on there. And I was just in Orlando a couple months ago training some contractors, and I cold called contractors on stage. So I cold called businesses to see what would happen. Because what does a typical person do? Oh, I'm having a plumbing issue. Well, they go to this little place called Google and they say plumbers near me. And then what do? They look for the one that has all the stars. And then what do? They call you. Well, I called and it rang 10 times and went to voicemail. I was like,
Wow.
well, that sucks. Let me call the next guy. So I called the next one live on stage, call. Up pops an AI robot. And I said, hey, I have a lot of money. I need a house power wash this afternoon because I'm having a party tomorrow and I'm willing to pay extra. And the AI robot goes, well, that's great to hear. Let me collect a few things before I transfer you to a sales professional. And I was like, I have money. I'm ready to buy. Well,
Hmm.
that's wonderful to hear. Let me get a few more bits. I was like, hang up. I'm like, I understand AI. I like it. I'm not an anti-AI
Yeah,
guy,
yeah.
but that's terrible, And I'll ask them, anyone in this audience, is your AI robot your number one salesperson? Raise your hand. No hands.
Mm.
Now, AI can answer little questions, but when it comes to getting the money, it's either you got to see a face,
Yep, yep.
right? You got to see a face and you got to see what I see. So we're helping, we call it race to the face, speed to lead. When that call comes, if you don't
Mm.
pick up, they're calling it. If someone else is booking that job.
So is this something that could be placed on a website where you could get right to a live agent to talk on the phone to somebody if you wanted to? Is that so instead of a chat, you could go right to a live video to one of our CSRs? Is that something that you could do?
Not only can we do that, I can do you one better.
What?
Wherever the person is, they can tap on a button on your website and instantly video pops up. No going to any other app. It happens right there on your app. Everything's recorded. I mean, you can take a picture of the driver's license. You can share your screen. You can also use QR codes on your marketing material, on leave behinds. We call it wall to call. So what our professionals are doing are claiming their property. So if I'm a plumber, I put a QR code on the water heater,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
the first thing a person does when the water doesn't heat anymore is they walk down to wherever it is and look at it like they're going to fix it. But it's what we do, right? If there's an accident on the other side of the highway, what do we
Uh-huh.
all do? We stop and look like we're going to do something. Like, no, keep driving, guys. But what we're trying to do is box out Google because a normative person will go to the water heater, say, I think something's wrong here. Then they will Google plumbers near me. So instead of doing that, if there's a QR code on the plumber,
Water
on the
heater.
water heater. It says the name of the plumbing company, the
Yeah.
phone number, and scan this QR code and take a video of the issue, and we'll get right to you. What we're trying to do is get that first chance to be I'm your plumber. And if a new tenant or a new resident moves in, new family, when they go to the water heater, oh, I guess this is my plumber. Yes, that is your plumber. So our electricians put it on the breaker box. HVAC are putting it on HVAC unit, garage door. They're claiming their thing with QR codes for video, right? Not just on the website, like you were asking about, Joe, but
Hmm.
also on property, on marketing material, on the van.
Hmm.
Because we're trying,
That's
our customers are weaving live and recorded video through the entire process.
that's completely amazing. I am so you knocked me over. I didn't expect to hear all this. This is amazing. I'm sold already. I'm already imagining new things I could do with this already that you guys have already imagined for me, I'm pretty sure. But let me ask you a question on this. We have like I teach people how to do like one thing I've been advocating, since the pandemic is that the contractors have to learn how to use Zoom. So this sounds like it would be a complete replacement for the Zoom situation, and because then now everybody would have instant access. It wouldn't have to learn how to use it. It would just be use it, more or less. Does that sound like I'm on the right track here?
You're
That
on the
would
right
be.
track. And even better, Zoom was never intended to do remote assistance, remote help for callbacks, for sales. It's not even tuned up correctly. Here's the reason why. You got to look at it through the customer's eyes first, and then through the sales guy's eyes second. So, difference from a Zoom call or even a FaceTime call, these were never built for third-party assistance or remote selling, and it starts with the customer experience first. So if you had a guy like me with big, thick Coke bottle glasses, you're going
Mhm.
to ask me to look at through my phone and walk around the property, right? So if it's a FaceTime call, I'd be looking at myself at the size of a postage stamp.
Right,
Or on
right,
a
right.
Zoom call, I've got to download the Zoom app. I don't want to
Yeah,
do that. Like
right.
I just want to get on. So a text will come through, the person will tap it, it instantly lights up the camera, and then they can see themselves large and the salesperson small. And also for the
Mhm.
salesperson, it puts a, a virtual background with their logos behind it because they want to. Some of
Nice,
our
nice.
guys sell from properties, sell from their truck, and they want to make sure they're presenting themselves as professionally as possible. While that's going on, everything's being recorded into the cloud. You can take remote photos, high resolution, remotely. Like hold still, let me take a picture of that, and it'll go right to the cloud. Nothing is ever stored on your phone or on a customer phone. I'm guaranteeing most everyone listening, if you go into their photo file right now, they got pictures of all their jobs in there,
Hmm.
right? That is a
Yep.
liability. If you lose your phone or your staff member quits, it's terrible. So all
Yeah.
of those recordings now get centralized into a cloud that's SOC 2 certified, meaning we do stuff with Department of Defense and our government, so it's safer than a phone call. And now what you have is an instant replay for your business, right? It keeps your team accountable. It also covers your butt. Like, have you ever gone out and the customer was like, well, the sales guy said that not only were they doing the water heater, that they were going to do the disposal for free. Like, no, let me check the record. No. It didn't say we're happy to do disposal as well, but there's that. Also, they could say like, oh, your guy put a bunch of marks on my wall when they were fixing the toilet. You're like, see this recording when we hadn't even been on property yet? The marks were already there before we got there,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and then when the guy gets on, when your guy technician gets on property, now they can do a pre-walk around video, a post, and then a customer testimonial. See, video just starts working all the way through your entire business because you
I
can take
love it.
those videos and put it in your Google business profile. Google loves seeing real photos. You can update your website with it. You could share it with a spouse. Maybe it's a big commercial job, or
Hmm.
and you have to show other partners. It gets
Well, I think
moved
one of the
everywhere.
biggest things is that people there's so many more remote homeowners that don't live on the property who have it's that they're not around, that they leave you go in the place, but you need to call them while they're at the office and explain the solution. Now you're saying you can also screen share, so if you have a presentation of prices or whatever, you can show that as well too.
Yep, you screen share. The entire session gets recorded if they have to share it with their spouse. You can even take remote photos if you need a picture of their license. You're closing the job there and helping with that follow-up process, right? Less trips in the truck. You still are going to go out. I'm not saying this is going to replace going out, but it does help with those follow-up pieces, especially like if someone is working in the office and not on property, you can say, hey, when you get home tonight, I'm going to send you a text now, but when you get at home, just go ahead and click that text and take a video of the work you want done because your technicians and salespeople probably don't like to work during dinner time, but that's when that homeowner is going to be there and they have lots of money. So now they're taking that video, which your salesperson can watch in the morning, call the person when they're at the office and that next day and say, hey, yep, I watched your video. Looks like I need to get out on property there and do some measurements, or it looks like that's a small job. It's only going to cost you about $400 and we can book that now.
Hmm.
So it gets, it's all just
There's,
thoughtfully designed
there's so
because
many
we
different
do a good
ways
job.
to apply this technology. It boggles the mind. The consumer and the initial order and providing sort of a context of what the problem is there. Number two, well, I got one for you that might be something you haven't heard. Let me see if I'll challenge you here a little bit,
Please.
James. It's have you heard of the trend called call by call management? Have you heard of that?
No, help me out.
Oh, here it is. So a manager is watching and monitoring 5 service technicians or 7 service technicians to make sure that they get to look at the problem in the field to make sure that they're writing down or documenting the diagnostic correctly. And they have 5 service techs they're trying to, and it's always been a problem on the Zoom problem because we have it on Zoom, but it's like you can't switch back and forth like you'd like to on this. This sounds like it's much more nimble and easy to move. And so the call by call management, I can see how actually I'm going to be calling you after this because I think I'm going to be putting this into our call by call training. I can already see how you can communicate much more effectively with your internal staff, like the thing with the garbage can thing falling over, you mentioned, would be a great way to be able to communicate internally. And then we can then in turn communicate with a client too at the same time to make sure that we can communicate with them if they're not around. A lot of times we have a single spouse and we have the other person at work, and so I can see number one, the call by call manager or leader looking monitoring the situation with each one of his team members. Let's just start there. Is that something that is a reality? Right
Oh,
there?
100%. I just didn't know the term call by call. So what happens a lot is with
I
our
just gave I
folks.
just gave you another marketing channel. I
Oh,
hope you know that.
thank you. What a great.
If you mentioned call by call management with this thing, because people are using like Slack and other goofy things that don't like Zoom and Slack and things like that. This is like the answer. This is it right
Yeah,
here,
and
right?
yeah, think about it this way too. So imagine I've got 5 jobs going on and I'm the call by call manager, right? I got to prioritize the person that needs work and maybe I'm getting pinged and text all different ways. Maybe somebody's like, "Hey boss, we were trenching out here and we just hit a pipe." That's not good. All right, let me send you a text. Let me see a video of it. Stand right there. Okay, I'm recording it and I'm still back in my office. Now I've
Yeah, yeah,
sent that to insurance, that video to insurance. I've sent it to my customer saying, "Hey, here's why our budget just changed and why our timeline just changed." Well, meanwhile, while that's happening, maybe I get another text like, "Hey, boss, I got the final walk around. Oh, well, let me just send you. You can just send them a text message, say, "Hey, take a video of the final walk around. Send."
mhm.
So you don't even have to be on the other end. Now the tech gets a text and they tap it and they're doing the final walk around and it goes up to the cloud. And then in your third scenario, maybe those guys have an internal QR code and they already know to do the final walk around. They don't even need to text the call by call person. They just scan the QR code, take the video of the after, and it goes right
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
cloud.
yeah.
So you're starting to be able to be in multiple places, multiple things,
That's it. I can
prioritizing.
see it. I can see how the same situation, probably one opportunity, you could probably use it about 4 or 5 different ways, honestly. I can really see how this could be a real core part of the business, honestly. And I can see how I'm already figuring. I mean, I've even because we do this call by call training class every single month, and I'm like, dude, I got to get this into my training. I got to get this. I'm already in listen, I don't even know what it is, but how much it costs or anything like that. But I already can tell it will pay for itself already. That
Yeah.
definitely is a
It's
fact.
really inexpensive. And then the other piece to note too is if you use a platform like Service Titan or Jobber, we're
Mhm.
already under the hood. We're in their marketplace already. We have thousands of users. So live videos, we're only one of 4 companies in the world that do this type of communications platform, which is why you don't already see it under the hood of the Service Titans because video is incredibly hard and challenging. So we're under the hood. So you can just bolt, it's already bolted there. So you can use us and on anything too. It can be on a
That's
phone,
really
a
great. That's really
tablet, a
great.
computer, and anywhere. But yeah,
That's really great. I definitely have to learn more about that because we do teach people how to use Service Titan, and of course, this would be a great add-on or that we could use inside Service Titan to do this exact thing for call by call managers. Because what we have on a call by call manager, he'll have 5 different browser tabs for each one of his service techs. So basically, you got one big brain monitoring all these technicians in the field to make sure that the quality control of the diagnosis is right, screen share the solutions to make sure that looks right, and then you present things to the client is what the call by call management is. Call by call management is basically somebody back at the central headquarters making sure that the client is getting the same consistent experience on the diagnosis and on the presentation of the solutions. And by the way, that is a huge market for you that I mean, I would love to lead that. I can't wait to. I can't wait to be a partner with you guys because
Oh yeah,
I'm already seeing how I could help you lead that market and make that a great thing, a great case for this to increase. Since you're the chief revenue officer, I can help create more revenue. That sounds like a
that
great
sounds great. And I
opportunity.
love having you're fully loaded now. You're armed and dangerous. And the other cool thing that you mentioned, you keep mentioning things that's triggering, is if they have like 5 different tabs open, right, with different
Yeah.
clients they're working on, we have this browser extension. You're probably familiar with them, like using Google Chrome. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
add this thing, we call it the Live Switch Launcher.
Uh-huh.
And what the Live Switch Launcher does is whatever web page you're on. So it doesn't matter if you're Service Titan, Jobber, or using email or Excel spreadsheets, Google spreadsheets, it will look for phone numbers and put a little L next to it, and then you just tap it, and you can do a live call or request a recording. We're all about
Wow.
one tap and go. Like we can train people how to use this stuff in like 3 minutes. Um, so
That
this
is
is just having run crews, having lived a life on a ladder. When we talk about technology, a lot of crews start rolling their eyes like, oh, because what they know is now I got to go sit in classes for weeks and learn how to use all the little features and functions and all that nonsense. We don't do it like that. I can literally, if you guys can send a text message, they can use our stuff. Our training's usually 2 minutes long because I want to
wow.
be like the next walkie-talkie. That's what I want. My guys love
I love
one-touch solutions.
I love that metaphor with the Nextel. I think we all understand how simple that's back when life was simple. We just push a button and we say we want it, and you had to listen because you couldn't talk until the other
That's
guy.
right. That's when you could start your
So,
car with a key and turn it. You could have your Nextel walkie-talkie. And man, did you feel like the bee's knees when you went up to the Waffle House with your brand new truck or
uh-huh.
whatever kind of truck, and you bring your Nextel walkie-talkie and you're chatting with your team. You were the coolest guy in the diner at that time.
Wow, James, definitely I would love to stack. I mean, there's so many different stacks of different value that you can get for just the one solution provides such a value stack, I call it, of all the different things you can do here. What advice do you have for contractors to get started, though? I mean, obviously there's so many different case studies for it and different things like that. I mean, right now I'm already thinking I have to go back and put a list together to make like because now you can add call by call management to that list as well. And I'm like, man, I got to start making a list of all the ways it could be used. And then I feel like I got to run out this call and go use it. Honestly, I really feel like I got to need it. And maybe we can come back again sometime and we can do a live demo on the air and show what it looks
Oh
like,
yeah.
kind of a
I mean, I
thing.
could literally do it right now if you wanted. But yeah, it's that simple. Where we start with people, and we include 24/7 training. Like if you want to be trained at 10 o'clock at night for
Mhm.
5 minutes, we got you. But we typically start you with teaching you how to send a text and then video connect. Again, that takes a minute to learn. And then the other thing we teach you how to do is send a text where we have the video Dropbox, where you don't need to be on the other end, but maybe like someone's like, oh, I forgot something, or oh, just send them a text. That's where we start. And then all this recorded videos go right to the cloud. It's easy. You can draw on the videos. You can share it. If you need to
Nice.
download it and put it on your website, you can do whatever you want. You have unlimited storage. We store it indefinitely. So we can handle you.
Hmm. Well, many owners hit the wall every hour without scaling revenue. How does the video platform Wheels help break through that ceiling of scaling the revenue? Can you get any ideas you can give us because that's really what it's going to come down to, right? Yeah. How is this going to make me money? Can
Yep.
you give us some concrete evidence there for us? So, because I mean, obviously, I am going to recommend this platform where I can see it, and I can't wait to get off this call and try it as soon as possible. I tell you that right now. But tell me, how can we make money with this thing? Because this is
Yeah.
all nice
There's
and good, but how do we make money with it?
there's two things I want you to look at. Not only your top line revenue, but your bottom line expenses. A lot of people love growing that top line, but meanwhile, what about that bottom line? Because if you aren't making any profit, there's again, there's my finance. Finally, the school paid off, right? So, concrete example: when that phone rings, you want to pick it up with your top salesperson, people that actually like to sell, right? Are great with customers. And
Hmm.
now that they're not driving all over the city, or if you're rural, now they can take more calls. Remember on my example of cold calling people and they didn't even pick up the phone? So let's start by picking the phone up. Oh, I know that's a novel thought. So maybe you're not check. When's the last time you secret shopped your own business? Do we pick up the phone? What does it sound like? One of my guys owned a car detail shop, and they cold called all 12 of their competitors. Like 10 of them didn't pick up, and the one person that did pick up was like, "What you want?" Like, what do people say? Like, don't. Don't take that for granted. Like start there. Like when they pick up that phone, and now what we're gonna do, race to the face. Oh,
Yeah.
I can send you a text right now, and you just show me what I see. Boom. So that's step one. So if you don't pick up, that person still needs their toilet fixed, or they still need their heating and air unit fixed. Your lack of being able to pick up that phone, and well, how do I pick it up 24/7? Well, what Joe said earlier, maybe you need to get a virtual assistant overseas to pick up that phone, because nowadays you can get ones that actually sound really well on the phone. It's not like calling some call center and they
Yeah.
represent you, and they'll even go on video, right? So we want to hit that first, because we already know that's going to affect my top line. I'm not
Mhm.
even saying, oh, we're going to get you more business. Let's just try to capitalize on the business we got, right?
Mhm.
The second thing is recurring revenue. Remember that QR code we were talking about putting on the water heater, right?
Mhm.
Boxing out Google. I'm your plumber. I'm your heating and air guy. I don't want you calling anybody else. Recurring revenue is the liquid gold of. The other thing is, now when your technicians are on site, you're probably asking them to sing, dance, play, close, do everything, right? We want our
Yeah. Yeah.
technicians to do
Yeah.
everything. Now you don't have to do that. Technician, fix the toilet. And what we're going to do is have that call by call person or call by call salesperson call that customer and say, hey, while Joe is on the property, do you want him to anything else we can do? And can I introduce you in our platinum package that you know, you upsell them, get your salespeople selling, get your technicians fixing, right seats on the bus. All right. And
That's exactly the case study I'm talking about. On the call by call management, it's like the service tech could give the information to the person who knows how to communicate better, and then that person can communicate with the client and give the options, and also have the options to replace it, because now we have the video. So instead of having to go out there, you can just deliver the video evidence of what we need to do on this job, so you can even show the client the videos that we have of this thing and whatnot. So this sounds like a really great plan
yeah.
for them.
And then the other thing to mention is just your bottom line savings, right? I mentioned the top line, right? Now the bottom line is gas in the truck. So when someone does call, there's three type of customers, right? You got the Amazon Prime customers who have read your website, have the 5 stars, have the money, and wanted you to fix it yesterday.
Yeah.
You're going to close that. All you got to do for that one is pick up the phone, right? So you have that virtual call, close them. You have the other bucket of people that have no business calling your business. They don't have money. They are going to
Right.
just use your free consulting, and then they're going to get their buddies and a box of pizza and fix it. But they had you drive out to give them all the advice on how to do it, right? So we want to box those people out, right? And then the middle bucket is like, okay, they got money. That's who I want to drive out to. I've seen your work. I'm driving out. I got to close it, especially those big jobs, right? So that's your bottom line. Says we're preventing those trips in the truck. Think about me at the gas station. That's all I'm saying.
I guess that would be also the second thing I was going to ask is, how does it save time? But I can already see, just based on what you said, I know it sounds pretty obvious, but can you just give us a little bit on that? How much time do you think somebody saves per week by having this solution at Live Switch?
Yep. Well, I'll give you words out of one of my most recent customers' mouth. He hangs TVs and puts up audio visual equipment. He's
Mhm.
an army of one, he himself am
Yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah.
right? And he goes around his town. He started using our stuff, and he came back to us and said, hey, James, you know what's so great about this is every day I've got a 2-year-old daughter. I get 2 hours back with her that I didn't have to be driving with windshield time. I was like, wow. So it definitely depends on your area, how much time you're going to save. And it's also going to depend on what free things you do. What are the free things you do in your business? I bet a lot of you guys do callbacks. And
Mhm.
callbacks are one of the most expensive things you do, because you've already got paid, you've already gotten the job, and now you've got to send somebody back out just to hit the on button. How many
Mhm.
times have those Nest thermostats for all of you heating and air guys driven out for a 5-minute fix when you could have done that virtually, right? Or if you set up some kind of system that really, if you could just put your eyes on the project. So that alone, those are such expensive tasks in your business that you can start to eliminate or at least mitigate doing with things like this, and still service the customer where they see you, you see what they're seeing, right? And especially if it's a normal thing. One of my guys installs sod, and it's normal for the sod to be brown or gray about a week later, and people flip out because they spent thousands on new lawn. Well, now he just, nope, that's normative. I can see it. That'll take care of itself.
This is really amazing because, there was a movement about 2 years ago where everybody's saying, hey, just get an estimate online from your websites, from your web page, or, they embed the estimate process and I've always kind of fought against it because I'm like, how are you supposed to give an accurate estimate, especially like a heating and cooling or plumbing, you just got to lay eyes on the job. You can't just, the ductwork isn't right size, or the piping isn't the right size. You're selling things, and you go out there. Now the reality is something different. How does Live Switch? I'm going to set this up as a really great one. This could be a good reel or a TikTok for us, I think. Tell us how Live Switch takes those situations where you want to do a virtual sales call by doing it on your website or doing it using an app. And how does Live Switch help with the broader shift toward that type of virtual service where you can get the price, but also get accuracy when you're diagnosing the system as well? Tell us about that.
Yep. So if you're taking someone through a wizard or, a configurer on your website, look for cart abandonment. I bet it's pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is a high dollar thing they're doing. If someone is configuring their bid right there, that's money sitting right there on your website. So to Joe's point earlier, you can have a button on the website that someone taps and instant video comes up. Oh, how can I help you? Like a bunch of our roofers use this because at the end of their wizard, it'll ask them what grade of roofing they want. And so now the person can come up and say, let me tell you about this higher grade roofing, why you would want that over the basic. Okay. So a human face has the highest close rate of anything. It's higher than chatting on, on the web, exchanging messages or talking on the phone. And the rate of close rate with a human face, and we have all the data behind it, is double that of just on blind bidding with the phone. And on property and virtual have the same close rates. And sometimes the virtual has even a little bit higher. And people are like, why is that? Speed to lead, right? Because I'm fast. Because how many of you have booked that person saying, hey, I can come out in 2 days. I got you on my calendar. You call that morning of, hey, I'm on my way out. Oh, don't bother. I already got somebody. That's why it happened to everybody listening. That's when you lost race to the face, right? You get that face in front of them. Even if you can't bid it fully there, you've still built the trust because people buy trust. They're buying trust. I want it fixed, but are you the guy I'm about to spend 3, 4, 5 figures on a thing? They still want that face. And that when you're willing to put yourself out there, your salespeople, you as an owner, this is where your game is going to be changed, right? I can't tell you how many times I have someone on their first stage like, James, I already closed somebody on my first time, used it, paid for it in the first call. I'm like, yeah, I hear this all the time, again, but I don't want anyone thinking that this is going to replace going on site fully. It will not. Okay.
No. But I think there's people who are, like you said, there's that Amazon Prime buyer who just wants to do it that way. I think there's a lot more people who still want to talk to somebody face to face. But there are those people who say, hey, let's just get this over. And if they know technology and they can do it, I think it's gonna, and they're kind of they're higher end, more of a premium buyer, I would say too. So I think that's really where you could pick up some really good business like that. I think it's just another profit center in a way. It makes sense. I don't think it's a replacement, but I think it is a profit center there.
And if you're thinking this is too expensive, how can I have someone answering? I'm like, okay, well, let's add up how often these people are driving all over the place, how much you're paying for all those marketing leads, and we don't pick it up. This is not expensive. You're having to you're putting your players in different seats on the bus where they offer the highest and most value.
Well, I do have a final question. I do know that you were very generous when you came on this podcast with us and gave us a special service MVP code to when you do purchase this. And one thing I would say, anybody who does do this thing, I would be happy to help them use it in their program and how we can use this platform at Live Switch in your calls to make sure that you're doing call-by-call management or checking on it or presenting your solutions to clients. There's so many ways that Service MVP would integrate with Live Switch, and I would definitely be willing to help people with this if you were to use the code. Do you have that code, and how can people use Live Switch? And number 2, what is the code? You had a code for Service MVP. Is it MVP 10? I think it was. What was it?
It's MVP 10. And here's what we'll do. I'll even do you one better, right? So if you're listening to this podcast, all right, and you're a Service MVP, when you go to liveswitch.com, liveswitch.com, and you click demo, it's going to ask you how you heard. I want you to say, I want to talk to James. I heard about this on Service MVP, and you're going to come right to me. I'm not even going to farm you out to a salesperson. If you're listening to this podcast, I will personally be the one to work directly with you. That way you're hearing from a guy who used to run, different companies, home service companies as well. And we'll make sure that you get that MVP 10 code so you can save 10% from that as well.
Nice. Well, James, thank you so much for being a guest. It's very rare that I get surprised as much as I did today, but I'm very pleasantly surprised. It's not a it's a very good surprise, and I can't wait to get my hands on this solution and begin using it right away. So, James, thanks so much for your time, and thanks for creating this dynamic solution that is going to be a door to the future, I think, for all service professionals out there.
Joe, thank you for having me and thank you for what you're doing, educating us. I wish I had you when I was running my home service businesses.
Well, it's never too late. We both have each other now, so it's never too late. Thanks a lot, James.